Welcome, everyone. This is Mardiak Market Update. I'm Mark Mardiak. I'm a senior wealth strategist with Premier Wealth Advisors and a registered representative with First Allied Securities, Inc., member of FINRA SIPC. This show will explore topics ranging from market updates to the global economy and personal finance. Money is knowledge, and I understand life happens, and this program will help you navigate your relationship with money with timely guidance and my unique perspective. Thank you for joining me in this week's episode. Let's get to today's topic. President Trump announced March 8th that he is imposing tariffs of 25% on steel imports and 10% on aluminum imports, with exemptions for Canada and Mexico. In an opinion editorial in the Wall Street Journal on March 8th, Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross indicated that the president acted because steel and aluminum imports have helped erode the domestic industry to the point that it threatens national security. Really? I'm not entirely certain about that statement. Since 1998, countless steel mills and aluminum smelters have closed, according to the secretary. More than 75,000 steel jobs alone have disappeared. Today, the United States has only one steel mill that can produce the advanced alloys used in armored vehicle plating, one aluminum smelter that makes the high-grade aluminum needed for defense aerospace applications, and one steel mill that makes the materials needed for infrastructure like electrical transformers. It is true that higher steel and aluminum costs could mean price increases for American consumers, but they should be small for individuals and families. Monthly payments for a typical mass market car might increase by $4 because of the tariff, according to the Commerce Department estimates. Is that a fair price to pay for protecting national security? Well, that depends on who you speak with. Will it start a trade war? No one really knows. The U.S. isn't the only country that has expressed concern about the types of unfair trade practices that are prevalent in the steel and aluminum industries. Countries like China have provided massive subsidies to their companies, and this is harming markets worldwide. According to Secretary Ross, the president will not stand idle while unfair practices erode America's steel and aluminum industries and threaten national security. Other countries may or may not understand that. In my opinion, countries won't suddenly take responsibility for their unfair practices and work together to address the underlying problems facing those industries. The president has the authority to adjust or exempt countries from these tariffs at any time based on circumstances and national security considerations. That is precisely why he is exempting Canada and Mexico. Clearly, President Trump's base is energized by this campaign pledge to address the trade deficit. I think it's good for American families, American businesses, and American workers. I can tell you that an acoustic ceilings business owner in St. Louis, Missouri, was advised by his supplier just this past week that he can expect the cost for steel to rise by about 22% in the coming weeks. Is that good for this small businessman and his clients? Only time will tell. In a political story just out today, on March 13th, Trump told cabinet secretaries and top advisors during a meeting at the White House last week that he wanted soon to hit China with steep tariffs and investment restrictions in response to allegations of intellectual property theft, according to 3 people familiar with the internal discussions. During the meeting, which hasn't been previously reported, U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer presented Trump with a package of tariffs that would target the equivalent of $30 billion a year in Chinese imports. In response, President Trump urged Lighthizer to aim for an even bigger number, and he instructed administration officials to be ready for a formal announcement in the coming weeks, according to 2 people involved in the administration's trade deliberations. Those tariffs are expected to be rolled out as soon as next week, the officials said, adding that the timing could slip. The pending announcement comes after Trump unveiled steep duties on steel and aluminum imports, infuriating Republicans in Congress and many of his own aides, including causing the departure of Chief Economic Advisor Gary Cohn. Tariffs on Chinese products could provoke potentially disastrous retaliation against U.S. exporters, including U.S. farmers who rely on the Chinese market as a major destination for soybeans, pork, and other commodities. Experts have warned. How do we respond once China retaliates? Stay tuned. That's a wrap for Mardiak Market Update. I'm Mark Mardiak, and as always, thank you for joining me today. If you have questions about this topic or you'd like to discuss it further, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm also happy to answer any questions you have about your financial portfolio. I'm here to help. Remember, you can find all of the podcast episodes on my website at markmardiak.com. Tune in next week for Mardiak Market Update. I look forward to seeing you around. This material discussed in this podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute an offer to sell or invest in any security which may be referenced herein. It is not intended as a substitute for individualized professional advice and is not intended to advocate or solicit interest in any investment. We suggest that you consult with your financial or tax advisor with regard to your individual situation.